Let's do it.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome back to another episode of Breakroom Banter.
It is a hairstylist adjacent podcast where each week
two friends
who also happen to be hairstylists
break down our weeks in the break room. I'm your host, Hunter Walden.
And I am your hostess with the most S, Ericka the Red.
And this week we have a guest. Leisha is a stylist that left her full-time job, fully booked salon suite to travel the world in her RV. She's developed such a unique niche that fills a gap in our industry that we've been missing for so long. And joining us today in the break room, we have the traveling hairstylist, Leisha Thompson.
Wow, what an introduction. That was amazing. Hello. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm really excited to have you here because, truth be told, before you reached out to us, I came across your page and I was like, oh my God, this girl hacked life. Like, we have to talk to her. So I'm super stoked to talk to you.
And we would be, we should mention the fact that all of these guests have come to us from one very special guest that connects us all, and that is Lisa Huff.
Yay, Lisa.
I know. That's her superpower, I swear. She's something
good
just,
at it.
I don't know, something about the community in there and bringing people together.
Yeah, she's so amazing at like building a community.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly that. And so we've kind of intertwined now with Leisha because of Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
And I find this episode so exciting because it is something that Ericka has been talking about even since before we knew you. And so it's just been a thing that I've heard Ericka mention to her guests over and over and over again. Like, if I can figure out a way to make this work, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then just out of the blue one day, she was like, Hunter, look at this. She's doing what I want to do. We have to have her on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then
life was busy and crazy, and we just hadn't reached out to you yet. And then
the universe led you to us.
You came to
Exactly.
us. So,
yes. Well, I feel like we might be kindred spirits then as we get into this and find more out. So I'm definitely excited to just chat into this and hear more from you too.
Cool. So, okay. I'm raving about you. We know you're a traveling hairstylist, but for people who don't know who you are, explain to us what that means.
Yeah. So like Hunter kind of said in the beginning, I was, just a suite stylist. I kind of did my thing, just like we're all doing. But I think the last couple years I was in my suite that I really kind of was just looking for something a little bit different, looking for a different way that I could give back to the industry. And I always had a love for passion or passion for travel. And that always has just fueled me. And so I always wanted to kind of figure out a way to blend the passions together of like, how can I travel, but still be in this industry and give back to this industry and mix these together? And what would that look like? And I think for a long time, I kept trying to figure out a way to do it for clients. And then I don't know, it's hard to describe like exactly how it came about, but I started to realize that there were a lot of stylist friends in my industry just throughout my career that I found who went on, had to go on a leave, whether it was planned or unplanned. And it was such a struggle. And like really looking at the resources in the industry, there just wasn't really a lot of routes you could really go. And so that's when I was kind of like, okay, the traveling hairstylist doesn't need to be for clients. It needs to be for stylists.
Yeah.
So basically what this is, in short, is an alternative option by stylist for the stylist to help cover your business, as in your clients, and give you some income security while you are gone on your leave. Again, whether planned, unplanned, so medical leaves, maternity leaves, any kind of leaves like that, where if you've established business, you can feel like you can continue to nurture that business through an experienced stylist who comes to you and kind of takes in as an additional you in a sense
Mm-hmm.
for your clients. And yeah, that's kind of in short of what the traveling hairstylist is. So it's kind of an alternative option there.
That's so freaking cool. Like, at what point, I mean, you said you were like, there was kind of a lot that led to it, but like,
Mm-hmm.
was there something that made you realize, like, okay, the client piece of this is like not gonna work? Because like I go home and I do hair when I'm back home in Oregon and stuff, but it's like I also lived there majority of my life, so I do know people still, and I do have clients that
Mm-hmm.
like when they know I'm coming, they're like, oh my god, I want to see you, you know. So if you're just traveling to random places, like that was kind of the thing that I'm like, how the heck do you get the people in your chair though? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you do it? Like, I
Exactly.
have all these great, cute salons planned in a toy hauler, but like, how do you
Mm-hmm.
get the clients, you know? So I feel like you hacked it completely, because I'm sitting here hearing you talk about it and I'm like, okay, so if you know you're going to have a baby, and like maybe you're not going to be able to take care of your clients, but you don't want them just going willy-nilly all over town and maybe having a
Mm-hmm.
bad experience, you know you've got somebody that's reputable that can step in. It's like, why wouldn't you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you said emergency, and that triggered a thought in my mind. So recently, are you okay with me talking
for
about
it,
your?
yeah.
Okay. Recently, Ericka has been ignoring an issue in her body and
Mm-hmm.
trying to fix it the woo-woo way, and it's not so much working for her. And then it led to her having to have to take 2 days off in a row where she
Mhm.
was already fully booked. What would a scenario like that for someone like you to come in, what would that look like?
Yeah. So first off, I feel like we all know somebody who is like literally putting off their own health because of the fear, anxiety, just everything that comes up around like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with my business? So you're not the only one, but the fact that that is such a common thing, like that is a problem. And that's what we
Mhm.
need to like be having better sources for. So to answer your question though, so I have, it kind of all starts with a form just so that we can kind of get a kind of a basis of like what you're looking for, when's the time that you're looking for. And then we do sort of like a discovery call because we want to make sure that everything is what you're looking for and kind of what type of like services are you doing, like how
Mhm.
often are you working, what products are you using, how much time, and is that time fixed or is it flexible? Because sometimes you might have, you know, maybe a surgery that you're planning for, a procedure, but you need more time off than you realize, but you don't know it until you're
Mhm.
already in that. So kind of getting all those bases out and being able to kind of just talk back and forth and come up with like the rate that feels right and the schedule that feels right, and scheduling it in. And obviously, right now, I'm a pretty small company, but
Mhm.
I'm working on growing. So I, in hopes, wouldn't want to be able to have, you know, people to be able to fill in the calendar, whether it's with me, a team
Mhm.
member. And then from there, it's kind of like almost like onboarding, like with your clients. It's kind of the same set. Like we have introduction emails that go out to your clients so they get to kind of know who's coming in and already are prepared for this. We can even kind of survey your clients to know like how many of them are interested, and you know, what services are they interested in, just to have a really good idea of like exactly what to expect before the traveling hairstylist even steps in and you step out. And then from there it's kind of just you know, different checklists, anything that, you know, if there's any specific thing as far as like learning when the client steps in, what kind of experience are they used to? What amenities do you
Yeah.
offer? What's the add-ons? So there's kind of a lot into that. Sounds like a lot, but really when you're kind of getting into the process, it's pretty straightforward as far as like I said, if you think about it in the sense of like how you onboard a new client and
Mhm.
maybe they have forms that come out, maybe you have kind of things that go out in preparation or you set up amenities. It's kind of that same way, but just stylist to stylist.
I like you mentioned it in one of your first Instagram lives that you're almost like an advanced assistant. How
Mm-hmm.
you came in a week earlier and you were assisting the salon, and you kind of
Mm-hmm.
learned that first week about how that stylist handles their day and all of that, and then you were kind of transitioning into that stylist role. Is that something that you do, since I guess that's been a while now, is that something that you have done repeatedly? Like you go in a week prior, you learn the stylist, you learn the clients, and then you just go for it?
Yeah, so so it kind of just depends on the situation. And that's something too I've really learned with this is every situation is so different and every body is so different and everybody's clients are so different. So it's kind of like really being able to kind of curate each experience to like what is needed and what's going to have the clients feel the most comfortable. Or if there's a lot of different maybe there's a lot of different services that you offer. Like maybe you're also doing waxing, hair, eyebrows, like different things like that. And so there's a lot of different like procedures to where like seeing something visual, you can pick up on that a lot faster than like, hey, here's kind of like my checklist of what I've done. So I've done both. I've done where I've come in for like a week and kind of assisted. I've done where I've come in for just one day and kind of oversaw. And I've also come in where I didn't assist or oversee at all, but we did a lot of like almost video or checklist prior. And then we just did like a salon tour together. So there's kind of several options that it can go, just depending on what is needed and how much time people have. Because there also might be a scenario too where maybe someone is reaching out for this service who unfortunately like broke their leg or something and they can't even show you anything. So being able to kind of work it in a few different ways, I think is important, just since each scenario can kind of vary a little bit. But yeah.
I like that. So, you said that you like kind of customize that experience. So do you go in and are you going to be using like the color that the stylist, I guess, is using and all the products that they're using and everything like that?
Yeah, so again, that can even be kind of customized. So I've done both. I've come to salons where they really wanted me to use their color line, or the stylist really wanted me to use their color line, and we just kept track of like what was used, and then I just replaced at the end. I've also, worked in a salon where she wanted everybody kind of had their own. So she was like, I'm cool with you just like bringing in what you like to have, and you can kind of, you know, do your clients like that or do the clients like that. So I've definitely done both. And again, it's kind of preference. I mean, if people have very specific formulas for their clients and they have a color line that they know really works, they've not had like reactions, then there definitely are instances where I think it can sometimes be a good thing to follow through with what's already being used. But there's some instances where maybe it's changed and bringing my own color line can be an option too. But I think I prefer being able to use the color line because, again, like having the formulas, knowing that there's like, not certain reactions and things like that is a huge deal for me. And I really like it to be like I'm like an extension of your regular stylist. So I want everything to feel comfortable and into what you are used to in the salon as much as I can possibly do. So yeah.
Okay. So have you run into any resistance like from anybody's clients?
I think the biggest thing that I've run into is not really resistance, but I think there's just a lot of clients who get really nervous and they almost have to like, let me have some of these other clients test you out. And I'll just kind of like sit on the sidelines and kind of see how this goes. And then maybe I'll get an appointment. Because the thing is if your stylist is out, they either are not going to go to anybody, which is there's a small percentage of clientele that are not going to come to me, but they're not going to go to anybody. They are going to wait. Even if it is 4 months, they're going to wait. But what I've kind of found is about 70% of people's clienteles still want to be serviced. And if they're not being serviced by me, they're going somewhere. So you might as well go to the same space that you're used to and have the same kind of experience that and you can count on and have the products that work for you rather than going to a whole new space. And it's always like it's always like you go to a new space and it's always like the parking, you always get so anxious about just where to park and how do I go and where do I step in, and that's just the first step, totally. And then it's like you're getting to know a whole new stylist. So not really resistance, but I will say some clients have felt, I think, just nervous at first, which is totally expected, and trying to just put as much of like the work that I'm doing now and more communication, I think is helpful to kind of ease people into that so that they're like, okay, like I can get down with this.
I like it. And I guess their stylist is kind of vouching for you because she hired you to come in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned you're a small company now and you are trying to build. What steps are you taking in order to build your community of traveling hairstylists?
Well, that is a good question because honestly, this has just really started to, I think I've kind of hit that benchmark really just recently where I'm like, okay, because I think I really wanted to be able to take a year and trial it out and be my own guinea pig and figure out like where are the holes, like where can this grow? Where does this need to change? And, just kind of see like what kind of response do I get from people? Like, what's the best way to communicate these different things? So now that I've done that, I'm like, okay, no, this needs to be my mission. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. And I see such a future of this within the industry. So yeah, now I'm kind of starting to figure out like how I can kind of network and find the stylist who maybe either they're like me and they kind of are looking for something a little bit different than what they're doing, or they want to be able to travel, or maybe they want to just be able to have the opportunity just like a couple times a year. So I'm trying to kind of dive into my communities a little bit and network and really kind of get an idea of like where people are at and how I can speak to them to maybe recruit the right people, I think, for the traveling hairstylist.
All right, girl. Well, let me get an RV first, okay?
Yeah, I can help you with that too, actually.
Really? Oh my God. Okay. This is so awesome. Okay, so you're looking at building into a team, but I'm just going to get down to the nitty gritty. How do you charge?
Yeah.
Like, how do you charge? What, like,
I was looking for a segue to get into the money part.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, if you're.
Well, yeah, that's a big thing. And I think that's also what makes this different because obviously there's a couple of things that I think are important. There's charging and licensing when it comes to this kind of role. And to start with like the money part of it, one thing that I've kind of found to make it really streamlined and have it meet the legalities of being able to do this is actually operating more on a daily rate. Okay. So when I'm talking with stylists, we basically are figuring out, what will fill the schedule. Because usually I'm not working the exact same schedule as they are because, like I said, there's always a good percentage of like maybe 30% of clients who are not going to be interested during your leave. It's just how it is. So with your 70%, how often they come in, is that filling out 3 days, 4 days, 2 days? Like, what does that look like? And when we kind of think about your area, your hourly rate, we come up with a daily rate that feels good for both of us. And what that means is obviously I have the rate come through, and then we have the rate of the money come through, and whatever is over, like say, just for money purposes or just sake of numbers, let's say I did $500 of services in a day and my daily rate is 400 or something. That extra 100 stays in the pocket of the stylist that I'm covering with. Okay. So there is an opportunity for the stylist that I'm covering to make a little bit of like supplemental income, whether it's just to cover their rent for where they're at, if they're a rental stylist, or, if they've had a baby, diapers are not expensive or expensive. Cheap. So, even just for little things like that, it's that can be a little bit of a supplemental income for them. So as far as like on the team, I am still like the facilitator of things, and I have created like the forms and the contracts and all of that. So basically there would just be like a 5% cut, and still you have your daily rate and the overage to the stylist. So there's kind of 3 ways that goes, but I've just kind of found that having a consistent rate keeps it so that as the stylist who is traveling to that person, you have a little bit of expectation of what to make and how to budget and how that goes. The stylist can still have overage, and then me as the facilitator who's kind of brought in everything and connected people, there's a cut there. So that's kind of what that looks like, I guess, from the income purposes of it.
Yeah, totally.
And then the licensing too, just to touch on that. Licensing, I thought was going to be something that was going to be, I think, a little bit more difficult actually than what it has been. It's honestly been very, very smooth. I've been so grateful for that process because we do have great opportunities through reciprocity and endorsement that really allows you to transfer your license pretty easily to most of the states. And I say most just because California, Idaho, there's a couple of states that are a little bit trickier about it. But I've had pretty much ease with that. Everybody, there's a fee and that's pretty much it. And I've even been able to acquire my license. I think North Carolina was the fastest and I got it in like 18 hours. So it didn't even take like a full day.
Dang.
I know. Some of the states are so quick. I don't think it's ever taken me more than a month to get my license. So that's another thing too that is important to kind of know with this, but it's super doable and very possible. And it's honestly been a pretty smooth system with that.
Totally.
I will say, knowing you're from Ohio has one of the easiest reciprocities that I've ever done. You just send an email and they send you your license within a few hours.
That's how Washington was, at least for me, because it was like, pay this $50. I think I went down to the office and did it and left with the license, So easy. Yeah, some of them are so, like, I would say North Carolina to me has been the easiest and fastest. They were so, like, their website was so easy and like, it was nice. But so a lot of them are like that. I think it's just more so some of them take a little bit more time than others, but it's doable for sure. Tennessee gave me hell getting my license.
I was going to say Tennessee is pretty difficult. So you just mentioned North Carolina, but we saw you on the West Coast not that long ago. Yeah. So you've been in Utah and Arizona, and I'm assuming North
just
Carolina?
This year I was started in Arizona, and then I was in Utah, and then I was in North Carolina, and then now I'm in Illinois. So usually I am in an area for a few months, like 2 to 3 months. So yeah, I've been literally back and forth this year, which is, I love that though.
And so you've been taking your RV everywhere you go, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's my family, my husband, my 2 dogs, my cat, they all travel with me. And my husband has been able to kind of make his position work for where he's just transferring. So he's been able to even continue to keep his job while we're on the road. And I get to kind of have my family with me, which is a huge aspect for me.
That's so freaking cool.
That's awesome. And then you and your husband got married in Utah, right?
We did. Yeah, you were really looking. So last May, we did get married on literally the edge of the canyon in Moab, Utah, which was perfection.
And
I couldn't have had it any better than that.
She wore the most beautiful black dress with like hiking boots. It was so cute.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
I want to be your best friend.
Thank you.
That is so cool.
Oh my gosh.
What was I going to ask? Okay, I want to go back to the money piece again.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that the stylist gets still a cut of the money, because it's like, okay, well, I'm taking this time off work. How am I going to pay somebody to come in and take care of my clientele? That can be overwhelming. A lot of us don't have insurance, like disability insurance, that was one thing when I was like having a panic attack from my pain and everyone's thinking my rotator cuff is torn. I was like, what the hell am I gonna do? Like, I'm a single woman. If I'm not making the money, there ain't no money, girl. So that's what I was thinking, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I like that. I think that's a really good note in your business model. If you're listening to this podcast and maybe you don't want to be a traveling hairstylist, but you might want to have a traveling hairstylist come in, that's a really good selling point, like hairdresser to hairdresser.
And I'd like to add to that too, because, and I'll be totally real with you, I still don't have health insurance because I cannot even, it's just insane. Like health insurance when you are a self-employed person and Yeah, it's just the whole thing. But I think that's another aspect is like, I'm saying that, but I can guarantee there are so many people listening to this episode who almost don't want to admit that they also don't have like either health insurance at all, or it's like shitty health insurance. So, and that's even another problem too, is it's like for us in the industry, I think we've not had a lot of good options or resources or really anything. And it causes us to put our health last. And we literally cannot continue to do what we are doing in our careers if we don't take care of ourselves. And I think this is such an important like why for me in this is being able to have a resource where truthfully it's not like it's costing any extra for a stylist to bring you in, but they are being able to like I said, continue to nurture their clients. They're getting some supplemental income. And one of the biggest things is security, because you also will hear of stylists who go on a leave and they've kind of maybe dispersed clients out or whatnot, and then they're coming back and half their clientele are gone.
Coming back.
And somebody who was established maybe left, and now here they are almost having to start over. And it instantly puts this like weird mindset thing in our head where it's like, oh, I took too long off, or oh, I didn't like prepare them better, or I didn't take care of them better, when we were trying to take care of ourselves, or another little one if you brought a baby into it. And even, and that's why even too, like there are 8 states who offer like PFML, which is a really great alternative to use. But I still think even if you have that to kind of help give you income, it's still that security and nurturing aspect that I think is so, so important that the traveling hairstylist can provide for those times and those leaves.
Well, go ahead.
For someone who doesn't know what PFML is, what is PFML?
Paid family medical leave.
Oh.
Yeah, it's paid family medical leave, and you do have to kind of, if you've been able to like pay into it for about a year, I think it can give you like a pretty good amount of your income weekly. Like you're still getting a paycheck weekly, and it can last for up to 12 weeks. It's a really, really great resource if you are, you're having like a baby coming up where you have a little bit more time to maybe start putting money into it. And you're actually getting like kind of your pay still through the week. So income wise, it really helps cover you. But there's only 8 of the 50 states who even offer that. So, I mean, that's so low.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, even so you have like your income portion of it covered, there's still the just security and clientele portion, because it always kind of comes down to like 3 things for me. The 3 biggest pain points of a leave are income, security, and clientele. So yeah, PFML is a really great option if you are in a state that offers it. Which is, I actually have a list over here, which is California, Rhode Island, Maryland, New York, Delaware, Colorado, Connecticut, or Washington. You should totally look into it because it's a great resource to have too.
Okay, I like it. I was going to say, one of the things that like I was worried about, one of them was like with taking time off, or like I was just trying to push through last week because I had such a busy week, and like I don't want to cancel on my clients. Like, I don't want to put them out. I don't want to upset them. Like, every client that sits in my chair and has stayed with me as a hairstylist has already been through enough with me. They don't need more, right? No, just kidding. But, like, that was a huge factor for me, too. Not only just the money part. So, like, I like that you said that that was a big why for you, too. It was, like, the caring for your clients. Any of us who are hairstylists, we're caring by nature. It just is in our personalities. You can't do what we do if you don't have it, right? But, like, we want them to have a good experience. And, yeah, it's not just about missing the income so much as it's like, oh, my God, I don't want to have to cancel on so-and-so. I know she's got this big thing coming up, or, like, whatever it is. Like, people are counting on us, right? So I do think that that's another really good point to this is, like, it isn't just about the lost income. There is also that factor, because I know I went on maternity leave and I had planned on taking 12 weeks off, but I only took 6. And then when I like came back, a lot of my clients had been serviced by somebody else, and like it was more convenient, and it wasn't necessarily that like they liked their hair better or didn't like me or something. They were like, oh, this is only 10 minutes from my work, or like whatever it was. And so you're right, there is this whole portion of your clients that just by being one gift card away, as they say, for whatever reason, the other stylist worked out for them, and that's 100% okay. But like if you've already got an answer provided for them and they don't have to change their routine at all, and they know that their stylist that they trust has entrusted you with them and that they trust their clientele with them, I just think there's like I'm sure, like you said, some people are like, oh God, I'm nervous because it's a new person. But I think that gives some peace of mind that wouldn't be there if you're just like, well, sorry, I got to have surgery and I can't do anything. You know, your clients, you're just like, my friend across town's good, you know, like, or see this person.
Yeah. So. And I think too, just like, because I am the one who's taking care of these clients when you're on leave, I've even been able to dive into like their pain points while in like past leaves that they've experienced, which is a really insightful and interesting conversation, because they never want to put their pain points on you, because you've got your leave, you're taking care of somebody, you're taking care of yourself. But it's been interesting to even hear clients who've maybe gone through a leave with their stylist and what they kind of think. And they've told me things like they were referred to this one stylist, but when they kind of like looked them up, they just like felt uneasy about it. So then they just like didn't get their hair done at all. I've had people tell me like that they just kind of feel like they're being inserted into somebody else's schedule when they don't really want them. And that just always leaves like a weird taste in their mouth, and they never feel like it's the same kind of service. So yeah, I mean, there's pain points on both ends of it. And so I think that is, again, just another really great way to nurture their clients so that they're like lifetime clients for you. Because the best thing about it is I don't stay. They're not coming my clients. I'm coming in for you and nurturing your clients for you, and then I'm out. So these clients are taken care of and feeling good, and they're still in the comfort of your salon and Salon Z even, and they're excited for when you come back and when you are coming back, rather than coming back with like, you know, feeling like you've got the expectations of the business that you left. You can come back knowing where everyone is at, who's been serviced, and being able to almost dive right back in as if, you know, you never left, which is exactly how I wanted to feel.
I love that.
I know.
So you mentioned that the overage after your day rate would be that could be used for anything that they need at home or to pay their rent. So if they are a booth rental stylist, are they still responsible for their rent each week out of their overage, or do you pay that rent since you were working at that space?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, so that can be both again. So I was in a salon where she was a booth renter, but she was still responsible for her rent, which was totally met with every overage that she had. So I didn't take care of any of that. However, I do have a salon. I'll be in Washington next year, and she is one of the stylists who actually has been utilizing PFML in her state, the paid family medical leave. So because of that, our rate changes to where I will actually be covering the rent. It's almost indirectly kind of like a subleasing type of thing, since she already has her income aspect and she actually can't show that she has made any extra income. So I'm coming in on a little bit of a different pay structure there, to be able to still service her clients. I'll be paying that rent and using the color and everything. So it can kind of work in both ways. Again, that's where it's like having the discovery call in the beginning is really so important, because there's so many aspects that can kind of change like what fits best for that stylist or salon.
I just love how you have kind of adapted and evolved everything as it's gone along, and there's not really anything you can't do.
Yeah.
With this.
Yeah.
You've come up with a solution for every problem. So I think that the longer you do it, and then
the easier, more streamlined it's going to get.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I found that out really quickly, because I think going into this, I almost had too much of an idea of how I thought every single step was going to go, you know, like we all do with things.
Yes.
But I really kind of found that like, gosh, no, like we are all such unique and we have such unique businesses and like how we do things, that there's no reason why this can't kind of fit the needs of what is needed.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest like keywords of like who I am as a stylist is adaptable and versatile. And I'm like, this is too though. So I can make, this can kind of fit the needs of the person and can tweak and change how it needs to, as long as it is still fitting both people's needs and fits the legalities of everything when it comes to taxes. That's what's important at the end of the day. So yeah.
So, question. Some of these are just popping in my brain as you're talking.
Yeah.
Do you, obviously, I would assume most of who you are working with is like independent stylists. Is there any scenarios in like a commission stylist setting that like, and a lot of stylists are independent now, but like Hunter and I are commissioned. So let's say this was a torn rotator cuff and I have to take 6 weeks off of work and I need somebody to step in. Is that something that can work, or is it different because it's an employee situation?
No, it can still definitely work. It's just rather than me just having a conversation with the stylist, we definitely are bringing that owner into it, because there's things that owners want to know too by bringing somebody in, and like even just little things like, is this somebody who's going to come in and like steal things? You know what I mean? Like I think there's a peace of mind even with like the salon owner, that they need to be a part of that conversation. And it's kind of like we're almost working with the owner more, but with the stylist really is kind of how that ends up going, because the salon owner, and that's their structure, and you're the employee. So, and I kind of was in a position like that really in Arizona, because I was helping out a couple stylist clients, but I was also just kind of helping out to the salon as well, because another way that this can kind of be used I really didn't think about this in the beginning, was salons who face like high tourism seasons. And they don't want like their regular stylist to take on temporary clients, because they want to be busy all year long.
Yeah.
So rather than having like your regular full-time clients taking on temporary clients who just like Florida, Arizona, where people kind of go down for the winter for just a few months, you can have a temporary stylist for those temporary clients. And then that way your regular clients can continue to fill their books all year long. So I was kind of almost that position as well. So I kind of did like a triple position there, and it was really great. It worked so seamlessly, but I did kind of work almost more with the owner with structuring that than the stylist.
That is such a unique
Seriously.
concept.
Yeah, you're
obsessed.
so brilliant. Oh my God. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who lives in Sarasota, and she even has gotten to the point where her like intake form will ask clients like, do you live in this area more than 3 months? Because she's like, I don't like being in that spot where 3 months of my year are crazy and then the rest aren't. And I was like, that actually could be a perfect scenario for the traveling hairstylist as well, for salons who want to be able to, have a better fit for that.
Oh my gosh.
I could die right now. You're like the smartest woman on this earth. I love it. Seriously.
Okay, let me just say, this all was like, I had so many people, and I'm so grateful for the communities that I am part of, because I know I'm like a one-woman show now, but I really owe so much thanks to just the community and stylist friends that I have, because this would not be what it is without multiple brains.
So is this like a product of Stole Stylist Tribe, like brain? Did you join that and then your brainchild blossomed? And then
I've been in Style Soul Tribe for a while, and so this idea it is kind of like a Style Soul Tribe baby idea, baby brain idea. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of the women in there, a lot of their brains and just like inspiration have helped me shape things along the way. So totally.
I love it. All right. And the last money question. I'm sorry to probe into it, but
no,
I'm
you're fine.
Curious because I just think you've hacked life, and I'm like really want to know. How does it compare to life in the suite, like financially? Like, are we doing the same? Are we doing half, but your living expenses are less? Like, are you making more? Like, where are we at?
So I'm not at the point where I'm making the same or more, which is okay for me, because I feel like I'm gaining so much more from just the aspect of the freedom and flexibility that I have as a stylist that I didn't have being in my suite. And that to me is worth so much. So Not quite the same, not more, at least now. And I think like this is another thing too, is like, because I've been in that first year, I have really been going a little bit like low rates because I'm like, I just want to get in this and start working it. So now that I've kind of been in a little bit more, I feel like I've got like better averages and better like base rates to kind of go off of to make sure that like I'm still taking care obviously of my needs too.
Totally.
But I don't know that I'm necessarily in this to be like, I don't know, like becoming some crazy. I mean, obviously that would be nice, but I don't know that I went in this feeling like I needed to make more than what I was, because it was kind of almost the freedom aspect for me that was just felt so wealthy to me in itself. And being able to experience different areas, and every few months I'm in a different area and I get to be by the sea sometimes and the mountains sometimes. But I'm also, I feel so fulfilled because I'm giving back too in a time where people feel like they have no resources and a lot of fear and anxiety around what's going to happen when they leave. And that also is so fueling for me. So no, I would say I'm definitely, and I was a
Oh no, we lost her.
Oh no. You're frozen.
Leisha! Oh God, technical difficulties. Oh, there you are.
Oh, you're back.
Can you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was. Okay, here we are. I don't even know what I was saying last.
You said I was,
or if you guys could even still hear me.
Yes, we could not hear you, but what was the last thing she said?
The last thing you said was I was and then that's all I heard.
Oh, okay. Let me go back.
You were getting the fulfillment from helping.
Yeah. So, so I'm not exactly to a point where I'm making as much as I was, but I feel like I have so many other gifts that I feel like I'm more where I want to be now than what I was then. But there's definitely a potential to, I think, really make good money and also gain freedom and flexibility in such a creative, interesting way that is hard to do. Sometimes as being a salon owner or a sweet stylist, or not that there's not options there, but this is like going to the extreme with freedom and flexibility, I think. So yeah.
No, I love it because I do agree with you. Like, I mean, obviously money is not everything, and there is, if I could do what I like doing while also getting paid to do what I like doing. And you know what I mean? I think it's great. I wasn't asking because I thought you were after some big money making scheme. I just was curious, like how does it relate? So
no, and I think that's a good question too, or even really think about too, because I think that's kind of almost what makes it the right fit for certain stylists. It's almost stylists that are like, no, I know I could make such insane money being where I'm at, but I'm just looking for something more. And the more, I think, is like I said, the wealthy gift of the traveling hairstylist. So no, I think that's an important point to bring up too, though.
Well, and it's also important to note that whenever you do live in an RV versus living in a home, your expenses are lower than renting something, because
rent's insane.
I mean, yeah, we live in Nashville, so rent is astronomical. Places like LA, rent is astronomical. So if you think of a payment on an RV or buying your RV with cash and then just living, your expenses will be lower. So as far as that
and there's
goes.
also and there's other options too. Like, not everyone who does this has to live in an RV. I mean, Airbnb does like monthly rentals now, which is really great, where you don't even have to like bring anything with you. You could go move temporarily into an Airbnb and pay a monthly rate there. And there's so many different things. Like, I've even heard of one called Hay Landing, which is like temporary leases as well, that you can choose how long you want. And so it doesn't always have to be RV life, but I mean, RV life is pretty cool, I will say that. But
I just like, it's so cool because I mean, I'm a nature girly, and so I'm like, dude, how cool would it be to just be like, go home to your little camping spot every night? Like, but I mean,
I feel like Ericka is definitely more of like, she's going to get a Sprinter van so that she can take it like on the beach and stuff.
Yeah, probably.
But I think now that we've had this conversation, Ericka's wheels are just turning and burning.
Well, okay, I will be completely transparent about why I had so many financial questions. The reality is, like, I have a son, he's 14. So my plan has just been like, all right, when Deacon goes off to school, like, I don't have so much responsibility. Like, this is something I want to do for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years and travel the country and figure out if I want to stay here or go out of the country or buy some property somewhere or whatever it may be. I just like, I'm an adventure girly. I'm a little bit of a wandering heart, and I don't like, I'm finally comfortable with the fact that I'm not the settling down type, So I'm like, okay, this is how we're going to make this a reality. So like I said, when I came across your page, I was like, oh
this is for me.
Yeah. We are so the same. I am definitely such a wanderlust at heart. I'm a Sagittarius, so, we don't stay in one place all the time. That's just how we are. But, and even now, maybe like summers for you. Well, you take your son, you could go work a summer job in your cute little van. And then when he goes off to whatever he wants to do afterwards, then it could be like your full-time thing. But I don't know, maybe you could kind of dip your toes in the water.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking, is like dipping my toes in. We're going to be having other conversations at some point here in the next year. just going to say that.
Well,
yes.
So we normally start our episodes off asking each other how our weeks were or giving a peek in a pit. And we totally got too excited.
Oh, we did.
And forgot to mention. So let's do our peeks and our pits before we go.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Well,
I know your pit.
Yeah. My pit is that I have a pinched nerve in my neck right now. I woke up, 2 Saturdays ago. By the time I got to the salon, I was like ready to crawl out of my skin because my whole shoulder and like arm was numb and like burning at the same time. And so we texted our associate, and I was like, I'm Venmoing you money. Please stop at Walgreens and get me these numbing patches. So I got through the day. I just woke up with my shoulder hurting, right? I did just turn 38, but come on. I thought it would go away, and it didn't go away. Well, I would have had like a 3,000, like probably a record-breaking week last week. And that is another reason why I was just like, no. I don't want to take time off. So I went to the chiropractor. I texted my boss Monday morning, and I did go to the chiropractor Monday morning. But then I came and I did like 6 blow dries in a row. And I'm right-handed, and it's my right side. So that was rough. By Wednesday, I was driving into work, and I literally was like having a panic attack, actually screaming at the top of my lungs because the skin, it's so irritating that it makes me want to crawl out of my skin, and there's no relief, and I can't keep it out of the back of my mind ever at any point. Like, it's just so frustrating. So Wednesday I got sent to the doctor, sent home, sent to the doctor. I got a stern talking to about how I don't listen to my own advice and I have to listen to my body. And I was forced to take the weekend off, which was good. I got some steroids. It did bring the inflammation down, but it's not better. But I'm going to the chiropractor after this, so I'm hoping that will do the trick.
Yes.
So that's my peak. Honestly, not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I don't really have a peak. It was kind of a shitty week.
I feel that.
Like I didn't sleep very much. I'm very sleep deprived, but I mean, I guess the peak was that I got 2 days off to lay around, So
look at the bright side.
Silver lining. Yeah, exactly. I did get the time to take care of myself, even though I had to be forced to do it. But it did make me wake up a little bit and just realize that, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just needed a stern momming. Like, I needed it. But, yeah. Anyways, moving on. Leisha, Hunter, somebody.
Go ahead, Leisha.
Okay. Well, I feel bad to follow up with this because my peak is about a massage that I got, and it was probably it was like one of the best massages I ever got yesterday, and it just I swear reset my body. So maybe you should also book yourself a massage appointment this week as well.
My boss referred me to her massage therapist, and I was supposed to have one at 3:00 today, but then she texted me the therapist and moved it to Friday. So I am having one on Friday.
The craniosacral?
Oh, good.
I don't think it's her. I think it's a different one.
Oh, okay.
It's more of like a medical one, and they take my insurance, which is great.
Perfect.
Mm.
Okay, so that's a great
Yeah.
peek.
Yeah, so I'm glad you got a massage. Don't worry, I will do the same soon.
And then I think pit wise, I don't know. I feel like the weekend was just weird for me, and I cannot even explain it because I know there was like it's super moon or something. I feel like it shifted some energy because I just had this weird energy, and then I had some Thai restaurant that I tried for the first time in this area that I'm in. And I love Thai food, but it just did not hit the spot for me. It was not it. So I was like,
Aw.
oh man, like this weird energy week and weird Thai food. And
food's
I don't
not
know. So
even good.
that was
That's
my
funny.
pit.
I like it.
Your turn.
Okay, so my peak is that in a week from now, I will be in Los Angeles teaching a class with
Nice.
one of my idols.
Who? Can you tell us?
Mr. Jay Ladner.
Jay Ladner.
We love him
I
here.
know Jay Ladner from when he was in Dayton, Ohio, because that's where I'm
Yes.
from.
Aw.
And he had a salon. Nice.
He sure did. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So he's one of my idols, and I get the opportunity to teach a class with him in fast foils, and I booked a flight. And so I'm going to show up in LA, and I'm going to be like, hi, I'm here.
Hi, I'm here. He's in the room.
Because was technically a virtual class, but I had a class that I had paid for that I was going to go to, but that got canceled last minute. So my peak is that I'm going to Los Angeles, which is one of my favorite places in the world, and I get to teach a class with my literal idol.
Myth, the man, the legend himself.
Right. And then my pit is that so I was booking travel for another class in like 3 more weeks, and I called the salon to confirm everything after I booked the tickets.
Oh no.
And because I just jumped the gun, and they canceled the class. So yeah. So I don't get to go to Virginia.
Did you get a refund on your ticket?
I
Or a credit?
immediately called my manager because it has to be approved first.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, please don't approve that. I know you're really, really quick at approving them. Don't approve that one.
Please suck at your job today.
Yeah, like don't look at it yet. But yeah, so my pit is that I had a class canceled, but I get a weekend off, so I'm not too mad about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well,
also, LA, Virginia.
Right.
So I mean, I think it kind of works.
It balances out. It
Yeah.
balances out.
Totally.
Okay, so Leisha, if someone wants to join your initiative or just follow along on your journey, how can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram. You can follow me on there at thetraveling.hairstylist. I'm also, I just have a website, which my website I feel like really gives a lot of like detail too if you're more interested or you want to read more about it, which it's just thetravelinghairstylist.com. It's also linked on the Instagram too. And I do try to send out like regular like emails and stuff too. So if you kind of like, if you're interested, but you're not sure, you want to know more information, definitely subscribe to, because I feel like emails, I really try to like put a lot in info in those as well too. So yeah, Instagram, website, email, all of those work.
I love it. Well, if you want to follow us on our social media journeys, I am at Herrick's Hunter on all the things.
And I'm Ericka the Redhead on all the things.
Our podcast is at Breakroom Banter Pod on all of the things. You can also, if you are looking for additional ways to support us, you can subscribe to our Patreon, and that's www.patreon.com/Breakroom Banter Pod. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere else you get your podcasts. And if you made it to this point in the episode, leave a comment down below using the word
Travel.
Travel.
Travel, yeah.
Oh, love it.
Love.
And until next time, remember,
You always have a seat at our table. Bye.
bye.